Hello, everybody, and welcome. You know it. We know it. This, right around the nation, in fact, New Zealand as well, is NBL Overtime. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. A lot to get into. Homicide, you miss me?
I did, man. How you doing? How was your trip?
Mate, it was amazing. Only one thing put a dampener on it.
What's that?
This show went ahead without me. Stunning me. Liam Santa Maria, hello to you.
What's happening, man? Welcome back.
Hey, man, I tell you what, I've been holidaying. You've been on a junket upstairs.
Right.
Yes, in the Sunshine State, checking out the next talent for the, the GM, the ambassador. I read that in the paper in the last couple of days on Media Street, so welcome back, mate. You got time for this show still?
Squeezed it in.
Okay, good. Let's get into it because Monday Night Hoops, we love it when the weekend gets extended, and the only team and only people didn't love it were Melbourne United because Illawarra, battling their own losing streak, were great from the opening tip. Sam Froling had a career night. He was unstoppable, 21 points in the first half, and Melbourne United, 5 straight losses, and this season goes from bad to worse. Liam?
Well, it was a big game. You know, you talk about a team coming in on a 9-game losing streak, one team coming in on a 4-game losing streak, and you say, big game, really? But for the Hawks, in front of their home fans, they really needed to get a win. And for Melbourne United, my goodness, in an effort to try to stay in touch, this was 1,000th career 3 for Chris Golding. Brought it up in spectacular fashion. Congratulations to him. But for Melbourne United, they couldn't get a handle on Sam Froling. 22 points in the opening half, had a career-high 29. In fact, he had that at three-quarter time. He was really looking at a 40-piece there at one point. And Illawarra got the win. And in the end, it's a massive result because for me, that puts a line through Melbourne United. 5-10 now, they're in 9th place. They're not going to be involved in postseason action for mine. And the Hawks did everybody else a favour in finishing that off.
There's nothing here to discuss about Melbourne United. Next subject. Good job, Illawarra.
You got nothing.
There's nothing to talk about. I said from the beginning they weren't making finals, and 5-10, there's nothing to discuss.
All right,
Next subject.
Let's talk about Sam Froling, because you remember you
Balled out.
famously, 3x3, hustled a few years ago, went over and introduced yourself, and you asked what he did, and he goes,
Had no idea who he was.
I'm about to play in the NBL.
Yeah, exactly.
And
he wasn't in there, and it's fantastic performance yesterday.
it was great to see last night, and this might have been a little bit of the defensive plan, I guess, from the scout for Melbourne United, but we don't see Sam Froling take a great deal of threes. He had it rolling, in particular, in that first half.
Super talented young talent. What is this, year 4 maybe, year 5, something like that?
Yeah, around that. I'll say 4 or 5, yeah.
You know, it's great to see it click. You know, sometimes it's been there. We saw how great he could be, and sometimes he just was absent. But today, yesterday, the must-win game. Look, they lost to this team in overtime or double overtime?
Double overtime.
Okay, so they had that circle. This is a team we can beat. They've lost 4 straight. This is their second game of the round. We're waiting. Let's go get them. And they did exactly that.
Hey, good crowd last night there as well. Of course, we talk about it when teams, Monday night, tough time of the year, occasionally struggle to get the momentum. But the Hawkheads rolled in last night, knowing exactly how big of a game it was. They rolled in, they made noise, and they were treated to their team playing really good basketball. I'm going to let you loose in a minute. Shout out Michael Fraser. We spoke about this. He rolls in, tough situation, comes straight in, being really good in the first couple of games.
I think they can do a little damage from this point out. As I said last night, the kind of pressure of their season, what they're going to be, whether they're going to make finals, I think that's off at this point. Well and truly, 2-10 now. And now they can just kind of focus in on being that spoiler team, that team with the chip on the shoulder saying, you think it's an easy win against us? Well, we'll see how that goes. And Seaver on the floor, Tyler Harvey back in his groove, Michael Fraser, as you said, he's coming in and rocking out. And Sam Froling, for me, the rest of this season, he's just got to keep his foot on the pedal. Don't turn down those looks from long range. You can shoot that shot, big fella. Be a dominant force the rest of the way and announce yourself as the next big Aussie, big man on the scene.
Watching last night, it was obvious. That's the evolution of basketball around the world. You've got to be able to stretch the defence, and it's made life easier. And that's exactly what the NBL is. We don't have an Andrew Bogut, essentially. I know Baines, although he does shoot the 3 ball himself, you've got to be able to stretch it. And Sam Froling's next step is what he did last night and doing it consistently. Question mark, of course, but if he can do it. And he shot pretty well. I can't claim that I did these stats, but I did see on Twitter last night that he shot pretty well as an Australian representative at the junior level. So he has been able to do it.
He can shoot it. He just doesn't have the confidence yet in himself. He'd only made 2 threes in advance of that game last night, and yet he was knocking them down. So just shoot it. Just go ahead and let that thing fly. And, you know, it's going to be good for that team. But, you might not want to talk about Melbourne United, but this is a team who every year since Dean Vickerman has arrived have been in the finals, have been in grand finals. They've won a couple of championships. They come in with an expectation that they're going to be at that level of team, and it well and truly just hasn't panned out that way. Now, they think, until we get 15 losses against our name, we're going to continue to dream the dream, but at 5 and 10, that thing's cooked.
So the thing with, let's just have a look at the ladder, right? The play-in tournament is exceptionally good for this time of the year, right? Sydney on top, New Zealand got that little breakaway. This is where the play-on tournament really starts to come to the fore, because there are games over the next, say, 4 weeks, over the Christmas, early to January period, that sometimes have a lull attached to them. Well, not this year, because as you can see there, right now, Cairns would play Adelaide, South East Melbourne, Phoenix would play the Jackies, and then the Wildcats and the Bullets, United and Hawks are on the outside looking in. But it's a logjam, and every game matters, not just to make the play-in tournament, but to host a home game. Because if you finish 5th or 6th, Homicide, as I continue to say, good luck getting on an absolute roll and having a chance to win the championship. So there is about 4 different layers to this thing that right now, the season standings, as they stand right now, give a great deal of interest to all games.
Sure does. Perth Wildcats are right there. Right there. So this thing is not set, etched in stone by far. We're only halfway through the season. Anything can happen. We have to look at also, there's no wood to knock on wood. Hopefully, there's no injuries to keep this thing really, really interesting. But we'll see how we go. But Perth is right there.
They are. I just want to do one quick question on Melbourne. You mentioned there about Illawarra. When the pressure's off, when your season from a playoff perspective looks to be gone, you can play with a little more freedom and the shackles are off. Can Melbourne do that? Can you see Melbourne being able to do that? Because theoretically, there's no reason why it should be any different.
They'll get some more wins along the way.
Yeah.
They'll take some scalps. They'll beat a good team along the way. When Xavier returned, he was broke last night, couldn't knock it down, but he's been really good. So he's going to have some more games. Chris and Marcus Lee looks like he's going to help them at times as well. So they're going to have some games where they get some good wins. I just don't think they are a group that is together enough and has the pieces to be able to string a bunch of wins together down the stretch here to get in that conversation. Now, Brisbane, on the other hand, maybe. You spoke earlier this season about this is a team to have a look at in the second half of the year. You said they're probably going to find their groove once Tyler Harvey starts feeling good, Nathan Sobey is healthy, and Tyler Johnson, sorry, I called him Tyler. And Aaron Baines is kind of up and about. A bit of a change with that group, a new head coach. That's a team I could see building a little momentum.
Let's talk about the Wildcats, because you mentioned it, they're right there, and they had a huge win. And looking back, if they have some success later in the year, it'll be a season-defining win last Saturday night. You want to talk about Corey Webster, a little social media poking the bear, and then he goes bang against his old team.
I did not like that. Okay. I think it was distasteful. Corey Webster is a New Zealand legend. National team starting point guard, championship winning player for the Breakers, multi-champion. He's international. You don't do that to legends, regardless if they're not on your team. That's distasteful, and that was wrong. And he came out and lit their asses up. You know what I mean? You don't do that. Do it with somebody else. You don't do that with a guy of that stature. You know what I mean? That was disrespectful to me. I'm glad. I don't even know who green lit that. That was crazy.
Well,
because what you called him was a word we can't say on television. That's disrespectful. Don't do that to a legend. If Kurt Penny was on the opposition, would they have done that?
No.
Mika Vakona, would they have done that?
No.
Why would you do that?
No, I agree with everything you said.
One thing I know about life, I'm going to tell you something I know about life.
Hit me.
When things are going extremely well in your life, be humble. You know what I mean? Be humble. Because one wrong move, whack. You know what I mean? This thing can get out of whack. Don't think you better than anybody because you rolling right now. Respect the game and be respectful. Don't call him anything else. Don't call him that.
99% of the time, the New Zealand Breakers social media team hit the mark. They missed on this particular occasion. And for everything you said, even if Corey Webster didn't have the night that he had, they still missed. But they fired him up, he found the groove, and the Wildcats are better for it.
In fact, I agree with you 100%, Corey. In fact, not only do you not do that, what you might do is play a video showing what a legend he's been for the Breakers and welcome him back to New Zealand in front of his friends and family and say, thanks for everything you gave our organisation. In fact, they went the complete other direction, and I love the fact he came in and gave them the business.
Oh, did he give him the business?
Yeah.
That third quarter was crazy. But the dagger, that step back over Derek Pardon, I mean, greatly contested. Good night, New Zealand.
And it was quintessential trademark Corey Webster all night long, making plays off the bounce. All right, you lose the defender, mid-range pull up, bang. Here he is working off the ball, catching, splashing. This is one of the leading scorers at the FIBA World Cup, Corey Webster.
Come on, man.
Coming in and giving the Breakers everything that they can handle. And you got friends, you got families, little kids are there watching him play, watching him tear it up, 26 points. He was the best player on the court. Barry Brown Jr. maybe also in that conversation. Bryce Cotton was terrific. But he was everything the Wildcats brought him in to be. And with that extra element to that game against his old team in his home nation, it was a beautiful thing to watch.
It was. And the big thing for the Wildcats, and John really right now, is to try and tap into it, because when they signed him, if he was willing to put his hand up and accept their role coming off the bench and doing that, it makes them a much better team. A much, much better team. It takes a lot of pressure off the bench squad, being able to come in, help Bryce Cotton. You know what I mean?
Bryce.
This is the big thing.
At one point, you forgot Bryce was even. It's like, you know what? Let me chill over here. Do your thing. If they can play like that, if Corey could give us half of that, this is a different Wildcats team. Because Brady Manick is hitting shots now.
Yeah, well, it takes the pressure off Brady Manick because the scoreboard ticks over without him necessarily having to do it when his defensive abilities are still a little lower than they probably need to be.
This is the starting lineup.
No doubt.
This needs to be the starting lineup. Cotton, Webster, Travers, Manick, and Tayshaun Thomas. Now, no more Jesse Wagstaff in the starting lineup. Todd Blanchford, it's time for Luke Travers to start ahead of you. And Mitch Norton hasn't been Mitch Norton this season. He's been on the floor, but he just hasn't been having that same kind of impact. So you know what? Let Corey Webster rock out in that backcourt with Bryce Cotton, and Travers, Manick, and Tayshaun Thomas. For me, it's on them. I think Cotton and Webster are going to, put points on the board. Can those three in particular in the front line stand up, be big enough and strong enough and hard enough defensively and on the glass to help them get wins?
I couldn't agree anymore. We spoke about Luke Travers early in the year.
It's time for Luke Travers
let him go.
to be a man.
He comes back from the summer league full of confidence. It's time for Luke Travers to be a man. It's time to take that step. I don't care if he's coming off the bench or not. When you in there, have that impact. You've been here long enough. You've leveled up long enough. Now we need to see it consistent. You understand what I mean? I don't care if he's coming off the bench or not. Okay, now you're starting. Now I need you to be a man. You're not a boy no more. This ain't baby Luke. Now it's time to level up.
See, I think the starting bit has an impact. Coming off the bench, it's almost this subconscious idea of like, hey, if I can come in and have an impact, bonus. No. We would need to rely on you every game.
NBA. Bench or not, I'm coming in, I'm about to handle this business. Or I'm going to change your mind as the coach to make you start me. You get me? Straight up.
I'm with you. I would have.
Then the tides turn.
I thought he'd start from the start of the year.
And then it's, you know what? This is what we thought we were going to see in the beginning. They're playing like they don't remember what happened last year. You know what I'm saying? That's why I came in high on them, like they're going to erase that memory from how it finished last year. Haven't seen that enough. Haven't seen it at all for me.
Yeah, well, you got Thomas, Manick, Webster. Those guys weren't a part of that, right? Like,
but there's enough guys that were, that are big parts of this. You got the NBA tag on you now. You ain't baby Luke no more. I need to see the man Luke, right? You got the best player in the competition, well, over the last few years. Xavier Cooks is the best player in the comp right now. But you got Bryce. He was there. You know, Corey stepping in. Corey wasn't there last year, but Corey knows what is necessary and needed to join this club. Blanchfield, where he at? Inconsistent. You know what I mean? So it's like there's still enough pieces to tell the new guys, this is what we on here. This is how you got to bring it. We'll see what happens.
I think they're the most dangerous team by a long way outside the six.
They're
by a long way.
They're going to be in that conversation.
They're way better than Melbourne. They're way better than Brisbane.
Talk about Tasmania.
Absolutely.
First of all, Twitter's on you.
I tell you what.
I'm getting tired. What's going on? They're like, hold Liam accountable.
Yeah. Well, do you remember what happened last year? When he put him studs and duds, he's like, this is the worst team I've ever seen. And then they go on a run and make the grand final. So this is what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
We're going to take a break. You're going to try and compose yourself because I don't want you to go early.
Okay.
And then social media go and give you the matter of fact, and then you've got to like and apologise on social media. So you've got a couple of minutes, compose yourself. If you have to apologise to the whole state of Tassie, it'll be on the other side of this. It is NBL Overtime. Back. Plenty more in a moment.
Oh, man.
NBL Overtime, welcome back. Hell of a break. This is what happens, right? Essentially, in a nutshell, Twitter believes that Liam says Tassie no good, then they play well, and he jumps on the bandwagon. Is that right?
That's basically what they
Right.
did. And it's almost fair about what happens. Let me be honest, though.
Here we go,
Straight
please.
to the people of Tasmania and the JackJumper fans. I love your team. I love them. I said a few weeks ago, lock them into the top six. They're absolutely going to be in that playoff tournament. They are the best team in the league at executing in crunch time. They're built for crunch time. Do I tip against them from time to time? Yes, because the reality is they're a team that's going to win around about the same amount of times as they lose. They're going to be 14-14 or 15-13, but when the push comes to shove in the postseason, they're going to be in that mix. Now, one of the big reasons is Milton Doyle. Oh my God, he is on an absolute heater right now because he's playing at a high level, 33 against Brisbane, 23 in the game before that against Melbourne, Corey. And they have in this guy a bloke who closes out games.
He is a silent assassin. Doesn't say much on the court. He let his game do the talking. He can shoot, he can create, he can score in so many different ways. He's an unselfish player. He's a really good defender, and he was just a matchup nightmare in this game. Two really good games. You saw how he closed out against Melbourne last week in a game where it looked like they had no business winning. 50, 40, 90, Melbourne United across the board statistically. They should have won that game.
Absolutely.
Milton Doyle started off well and ended even louder. That guy's the truth, man. And for him to be leading the way with this team, they're even that much more dangerous with him doing what he's doing.
So in summary, you love the JackJumpers, but you love half the teams in the league as much because you think they're only a 50-50 team.
Fair.
All right, will they beat Sydney in Sydney on Sunday?
No.
Will they beat Cairns at home the following Saturday?
Yes.
There you go, 50-50. Yeah, you spoke the truth. All right, hey, it's the season, right? Festive season, and I love the way the players roll on in and dress up and get involved in the Christmas spirit. And well, there we go. Mitch Creek is absolutely no exception.
That is what
Mitch Christmas Creek. He's pretty happy with it too. He's strolling on in. He's having a hell of a season.
Nobody does it better.
I really like, I think the WNBL led the way here, but I like the way the players are now starting to embrace their right. You would have loved it back in your day. They're not the polo, throw all the suits and that out. Let them show some flair and express creativity, and that's a big part of it.
I think it's important because during my years here, it always used to be put your uniform, your team polo on. That's boring, man. A lot of these players have such huge personalities, but we don't see it because the teams did not allow it. Strict dress code. But I'm glad that they've loosened the reins and allowed them to show that because I love seeing them. You don't know what they're going to come in with, and that's like the coolest part of when the players are walking in. So shout out to the players and the clubs for loosening the reins and letting them be who they are.
All right, talking about no rules, let's get into it. As Santa's watching time.
All right, let's do it. Roll the stinger. Cam, you're enjoying it?
Yeah, whatever.
Just the head wobble and beautiful thing. But no head wobble here from Sam Wardenberg at the outlet pass.
That's why you pay the big cash. Get an assist from the rook.
Matt Johns, the DP.
Oh!
Hey! Pete Hawley threw one of them.
Look at Sam McKinnon. Look at Sam McKinnon.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Welcome to the league, coach.
Scores tied late
What
in the
was
fourth
this,
quarter.
man?
Come on, to Jim McCall. What
Dude,
are you
I've never seen
doing?
this many brain farts
Well, because it,
in a game.
it was closely followed by this from Robert Franks. 2 seconds on the clock. You've got the game.
Oh my goodness.
Just keep your feet
Dude.
and win the game. They won it in the end. Anyway, keep an eye here. What have we got here? Oh, Robert Franks. Look how long he calls for the review here. CJ's not looking. 4, 5, 6, 7. He's still twirling. We're at 8, 9, 10. We're still going 11. And even dozen of seconds from Robert Franks. DJ Hogue just tending to some nasal congestion.
You give that towel away.
Yeah.
Throw the
Maybe you throw that to a kid on the way out of there.
No, please don't do that. That's not right. Geez, they were having fun on that New Zealand bench when they were whacking the Phoenix. Check this out. Look at Barry Brown. And this might be the best Santa's watching moment of the season.
Oh,
Look at
yeah,
the
in the back.
Look at the kid in the back. That is just beautifully done in the background.
Genius by the kid. Perfect spot. You got to get the perfect seat. And did it and executed it
Crosstown
wonderfully.
rivalry.
Yes. Hashtag NBL Overtime at Liam Santa to help him out. All right, we're going to be quick here because we're running out of time. So quite frankly, the two best dunks of this year are both held by Xavier Cooks. We agree?
100%.
Yes.
All right, let's get to it. Let's see which one's better. Roll the first one out the back. Whatever you want to show us first, let's look at it. Of course, this is on the weekend. So I got this. No, you don't. Bang. Talk to me, Homicide. Talk to me.
That was disgusting. Beautiful cross. Big fella thought he was gonna meet him at the rim and got bodied. That was disgusting. Look, for me personally, there's some really, really good players in this league balling at a high level. And then there's Xavier Cooks.
Well, if you've forgotten how the first dunk looked against Melbourne, very early in the year, check this one out in from about 15 different angles.
Well, hold on.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Get another look at that.
Oh, no.
For all the fans.
Disrespect.
Now we're talking. Bang.
Man.
Now, he has a tendency, and I love it, to cock the ball back.
That's a vintage dunk on. That's a vintage style. Cocking it back and super aggressive and pulling the rim down. That's straight old school. I think personally, the second one was even better.
Really?
Because Kai Soto is taller. How tall is Kai Soto?
More body in that one.
How tall is Kai?
Back. He's like 7'2", 7'3".
Yeah.
All right, ain't too many people dunking on the 7'2", 7'3" guy. Disrespect. They both are incredible, but for me, the second one was even crazier.
You made a really good point on Sunday about the differences in the dunks, what Xavier Cooks is able to do in different ways.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first one is on the runway, right? He's running in transition, catches it in stride. The second one, he creates all that momentum off a couple of steps, off the crossover, in his grill, all over Kai Soto and the Philippines.
There you go. Beautifully done. Who? Best dunk? Cooks or Cooks? Hashtag NBL Overtime to let us know.
DJ goes to the rim. How about that? The nimbleness. Johnson banks it home. I just became a superhero. That was a high-quality move from DJ. Johnson clearing out space in the long arm of the DJ. DJ, tough bucket. Impossible circus job. Great finish, Daniel Johnson. Daniel Johnson is on fire early. He's got it going.
The superstar Daniel Johnson, game 400 on the horizon. 6,000 points happened last week. And, of course, number one amongst active NBL players when it comes to points. No real surprise. And the word underrated gets thrown around. It gets thrown around so much, sometimes the word becomes overrated. But he is underrated. He's a superstar. He's a legend. And good luck to DJ this weekend. All right, yes or no? You ready?
Uh-oh.
Okay, good. Hey, did Jack McVeigh do anything wrong by shooting that late three ball on Sunday?
No.
Flexing when losing?
Nah, you can't flex when you're losing.
Is the 6 set?
No.
Mitch Creek, MVP conversation. Should he be included?
He's in the conversation.
Okay.
Yes.
Is his teammate, Williams, the big boy, all NBL conversation?
He's in the conversation as well.
So that's a yes?
Yes.
Should Brisbane scope out Paul Henare?
You should give him a call.
So yes? Yes? Is Up Front a better podcast than The Huddle?
Oh.
No, here's what I like.
You got 5
all
seconds.
collective, baby. It's all. I'm not.
We're getting out of here. That's not an answer. I'm
Yes,
going to
it
cock
is.
it back like Cooks.